All right, guys, we are live. And if you're joining us on replay, hang around. If you're going to bail because you don't like live streams for whatever reason, bail over to our channel. I think there's some cool stuff you'll like on there. But in the meantime, what's up, folks in the audience? We need to address Justin's question here. He's got an inbox trade.
Oh.
Guys, 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR. Give Stafford and 3 mid, 23 firsts, and a 24 first. Get Justin Herbert, Damian Pierce, and a 23 third. What do you think? So he's giving Stafford and 4 firsts to get Herbie, Damian Pierce, and a 23 third.
And start 11, I'm usually like, in general, I'm like, hey, pay everything in the world to get starting quarterbacks. And start 11, I'm a little reticent. And I just wanted to use that word. So thank you for allowing me to use that word today, Justin. I'm a little reticent to make this deal, to be quite frank with you.
What do you think, Scott? Is that too much?
We're stuck in this middle of the point scoring season. Like on paper, it's not too much. If you could have got Herbert for less than 4 firsts before the season, you would have been like, I'll do it. The same time, this kind of feels like a deal. It's weird. I saw somebody the other day want to trade Justin Herbert for Jalen Hurts. Straight up.
Wow.
And to the point where it's like, I think Jalen Hurts is literally going to outscore Justin Herbert by 10 points a game this year. It's like, well, possibly. But like the fact that your mind is already going there makes Herbert a buy. I saw a Burrow get traded. Herbert get traded for a Burrow straight up. Someone just gave up Herbert for Burrow. Just figuring it.
Afraid about the injury?
I think the offensive line, the injury, the weapons, like you can make some arguments against Herbert, but I mean, this is still Dynasty. He's still, as long as he's there, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback probably. It's just, is he going to be QB1 or QB2? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, that's the overreaction season. So, I mean, do you have to pay this for Herbert? I guess would be my point. Do you have to give up 3 firsts and a quarterback for effectively like Herbert a second and a third? I don't know.
Well,
I'd still do it, but I got to be in the position to be able to trade away 323 firsts and Stafford. Herbert better smash for me. Otherwise, I'm kind of like,
That's what I'm saying. Can't I just take 2 of those first and go get me a Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts, get me 2. I'll give him 2 firsts and Stafford. I'd do that first before I thought about playing.
I think if we do a startup today,
knock on Kyler's door, and see what that owner is feeling.
You do a startup today, Jalen Hurts goes in the top 3. I think he goes ahead of Herbert for some people. They definitely could go ahead of Mahomes too. So I mean, I don't think you get Jalen Hurts for 2 firsts. I think I just traded him. I just traded 3 firsts today for Jalen Hurts. And I mean, I felt like one of them was a 24 first. I felt like I'm getting a discount if he signs an extension and this offense is what it is for some semblance of this for 3 years. Like I smashed that trade. So I don't think you can. I mean, certainly I shop around and see if I can get a better deal. I'd pay Stafford and a first and a second for Burrow before I'd give up that for Herbert. But it's still Herbert. Like. Yep. That's a tough one for me, man. Like if you say I'm doing it because I'm getting a top 5 asset in Dynasty, do it. Worry about the rest later.
Yep. Okay. I just spotted another inbox trade here. Let's keep helping some folks out. 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Give Romeo Dubs, get Hunter Renfrow and Chase Claypool.
Yes, smash. And I love Romeo Dubs, but you're getting 2 receivers that are just as good as Romeo Dubs, so just take them.
Yeah. We'll take the get side there. Okay, let's go. Shane sent me a little private message here.
I'm a private dancer, baby.
Also, thanks for the roster review. Well worth it. Thanks, guys. Where's the other one, Shane?
It's the one that started right before that.
You're too none your business. Oh, I like it. All right. Hey, thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. 10-team super flex, 1 point tight end premium, start 10. Jameis Winston, Joe Mixon, TJ Hawkinson, AJ Brown, Pickens, a 24 first and 24 second, or Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Drake London, and a 23 first.
Right,
accept it now.
I'm taking Herbert out, London in the first.
Drake London, AJ Brown are equal. Wash them out.
Mm-hmm.
Herbert and
I mean,
Keenan
look at it this
Allen,
way.
and the first for Herbert over Winston by a mile, the first equivalent to Mixon. I mean, it's not even close.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. Just looking at the Herbert, like you'd have to give me Winston, Mixon, Hawkinson, and AJ Brown to get Herbert off me, and I still don't know that I'd make that deal. Matter of fact, I know I wouldn't make that deal. So this is a smash.
Yeah.
Go get this smash.
You were getting 3 of the top 4 or 5 assets in the deal, and you're getting the best one. So yeah, roll with it.
It's another one of those trades where it's funny. It's normally you see the Herbert side and all. You don't expect to see a 23 first on that side as well. Like when there's a 23 first on the side with the best assets.
And Drake London.
And Drake London, who is 4th in the league in target share as a 22-year-old rookie. Yeah.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, guys, we just recorded a show last night on some wide receiver rookie hits. So that's going to be coming to a subscriber inbox near you. And if you're watching this, you should probably subscribe, right?
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff.
Definitely. Because we are, well, let me just be the police real quick. We got 97 watching, only 34 likes. And we're very close to 3,000 subs. So if you could go ahead and sub, I'd like to see if I can hit 10,000 Twitter followers, or if we can hit 3,000 YouTube subs first. I'll be excited for both. I think I'll be more excited about the subs, to be quite honest with you. So go sub, go like, hit share.
And thank you for that. Excuse me, I got something stuck in my throat tonight. Thank you for that super chat. None of your business. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's put this one up here. Swift. What's the play for Swift? Does it matter if contending or rebuilding? He's always a little bit banged up, man. It's like a frustrating thing with DeAndre Swift. What are you doing with him?
You want to really hear my answer?
I do.
The more I've been thinking about it, just looking at, and maybe this is an overreaction, so kill me in the chat if it is. I'm selling every running back I have. I don't care who they are, how young they are. I'm selling Breece Hall. I'm selling DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams. We're to a point that this is the inflection point. We're going to have the 23 class coming in. We're going to have to completely do a 180 next year when we have all these young running backs come in, because next year is not going to be just a high-end class, but we're looking at another class that's going to be kind of like this one, where there's a lot of options. There's going to be scattered number of Damian Pierces in next year's class too, where it's like, wow, the right landing spot, the right situation with the right coach, and he flashes at the right time in training camp. He's a starter by week 3, and no one saw it coming. But like, that's going to be pretty much the NFL every single year. And then the cream of the crop is going to have those classes where we get the Bijans and the Jameer Gibbs and whatever. But like, I'm just looking at the production from the running back. I mean, if you're looking at production this year, if you're just taking even a standard scoring league with like 4-2 for passing, like, running backs truly do not matter this year. Like, the best running backs are barely scoring 20 points per game. Historically, they're not even close to the impact that they had 4 or 5 years ago. And we have how many receivers scoring 22, 21 points per game? And then a boatload of others, 17, 18, 19 points per game. And meanwhile, we're sitting here with guys like Joe Mixon or Derrick Henry. Like, you actually value those guys when they're scoring 14, 15 points per game. Like, it's insane. So, like, yeah, DeAndre Swift's hurt. Can you get as much as you could have 2 weeks ago? No. But if someone comes to you and goes, I'll give you a 23 first and, John Dotson or something like that, I'm just taking it. I'll worry about the running backs later. I'll backhand buy, the Damian Harrises, whatever one is starting over the next 4 weeks. That's how I'll contend. But I want to try to use all my assets. Like, I want my lineup going like, damn, that's 2 top 8 quarterbacks. I have 3 top 12 receivers. I have 4 or 5 other receivers that at any given week could score 20 points. Like, that's how I'm going to win. I don't care about running backs. So, yeah, if I have one that somebody else will give me a premium for, gone. I don't care who they are. Even Breece Hall, Shane.
So you're trading are you trading Breece Hall for T. Higgins?
No, you don't do it straight up. You're still trying to find the person in your league that goes, man, I'm a running back away from contending. When really they're not a running back away from contending. If they need DeAndre Swift that desperately, are they really a contender? Or if their team doesn't have the other components I talked about, I'm happy to give those teams running backs because I don't think they're going to be able to keep pace. So that's kind of how I'm looking at things.
Here's the thing. We're hitting a reset. time on running backs, right? Where we had one elite. Well, I don't want to say elite. Jonathan Taylor compared to his peers was elite, right? And then Christian McCaffrey, obviously, before he got injured, was elite. But quite frankly, the rest of the running backs that are out there are either aging, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, or pushed up too high because of circumstance. Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, and DeAndre Swift. Because quite frankly, DeAndre Swift has looked good, although his efficiency numbers were trash last year. But he's never stayed healthy, like you said. And if we were given the options, neither him nor Harris would be a top 5 running back. And I think we'll see that kind of reset itself next year. But for this year, look, if someone wants to give me a 23 first and a piece for DeAndre Swift, preferably another running back that I can just start, that's fine. I mean, unfortunately, I have him in a league that I'm in first, and just wanted to say I was in first in the league. I have him in a league that I'm first in, and I want to trade him, right? You know what I mean? Even though I'm in first, but I can't trade him right now because he's just coming off a bad week, and apparently his bottom half and his top half don't work. So you're going to have to hold on to him, hope that he can get healthy at some point. If he gives you 2 strong weeks, really 1 at this point, and then you can move him.
Let's put this up. Ben Carlson, thank you very much for the super chat. Very, very generous. Appreciate it. Picked up 3 orphan teams last week and just sent in 1 to be reviewed. I got that. Thank you very much. We'll get you in queue. No questions, but wanted to give you guys a laugh with this offer I got. Give Jonathan Taylor, Debo, and Olave. Get Brandon Cooks, James Conner, and 23 and 24 firsts. Do we all get trash offers?
Yeah, I mean,
even in leagues where you're playing with other like sharps, like playing in patron leagues with your patrons, guys, still get trash offers. Yes, that is a laugh, Ben.
I'm in a league today with a fellow
Appreciate
analyst,
it, dude.
And he offered me Amari Cooper for a 24 first, and Calvin Ridley. It happens.
It does happen. Mr. Wonderful got yours too. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. 10 team Superflex PPR start 11. Gave T-Law and a 25 second. Got Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy. And this is a huge T-Law fan. Big mistake. So gave T-Law and a 25 second. Got Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy. What do you think? He's already got 8.23 firsts, 5.23 seconds. And he said he has Deshaun Watson, Pitts, London, Garrett Wilson, Burks as a score.
I mean, based off what I've seen the 3 weeks of their new circumstances, right? T-Law. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, based off what I've seen in their new circumstances over the first 3 weeks, man, T-Law looks a lot better than Russ Wilson.
Russ Wilson.
I mean, that Denver offense, and I don't know if it's Russ, but it's a little scary that the terrible offenses seem to follow him from Seattle. That's not great. And T-Law, Doug Peterson's making it easy for him, giving him easy game plans to run, and I expect them to expand that more. Yeah, I think you made a mistake here. Now, is it a giant mistake you can't recover from? Hell no. That's why we make more trades, and you got enough 23 firsts that you kind of left yourself a cushion to do what I'd like to call get funky and just get weird with it trades. Just don't do too many of these. You know what I mean? But I do feel like this was not a great one.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you take Trevor Lawrence over Russell Wilson. But here's the thing, like, can you add to Trevor Lawrence and go up to the top tier of quarterbacks, or would he have had to add at least 2 of those first to do that, Yeah. So I think that's the thing is like we sit here and go, oh yeah, Russell Wilson sucks. I would clearly take Trevor Lawrence over Russell Wilson, yet Trevor Lawrence isn't quite in that range yet where you can add to him and go up to get Mahomes or Allen or Herbert, or Lamar. Like, so really, what is the difference between him and Russell Wilson other than preference? Like, if someone came to you and goes, I'm going to give you a first round equivalent asset on top of Russell Wilson, you're probably going to still take the pivot as long as you have some other exposure to Trevor Lawrence. You're going to take the value there because not every league could you get Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson for Trevor Lawrence. So I don't hate it. Like, if I had to choose and I only had 1 share of either side, I would rather just have the best asset that I think I can move easier in Lawrence. But I don't think it's like an egregious trade. Like, listen, that the Broncos could turn it around. And you could be like, all right, that Russell Wilson's a top 12 quarterback. Judy's a top 24, top 30 receiver. And then you're like, okay, that was a great trade. So I don't think it's catastrophic, but it's not trending in that direction.
Yep. Okay, let's move to the next one here. Thank you for that super chat. Let's go to Robert's inbox trade here real quick. So who's fighting me on the comments?
Not me.
Scott was fighting me on.
It wasn't me. Shane's lying. It wasn't me.
Well, I believe it wasn't Shane. He's not smirking either.
It was not me. It must be a ghost in Clay's house because it was not me.
Gosh, it's probably my kid Alex again. He was on our last live stream. Yeah, I asked him if he wanted to join this time. He decided he was going to go to bed instead. Robert D. Inbox trade. Superflex 12 team start 10 traded T Higgins for Sky Moore and a mid 23 first. Thoughts?
T Higgins shouldn't be a guy that I hesitate moving a 23 first for. For some reason, I do. But let's go process. You're getting Sky Moore in a 23 first. Technically, that's a good deal. I wish you could have got a different player than Sky Moore.
Sky Moore, but Shane, Sky Moore's smashing.
That pains me to say. Oh, and Clay left. Now he's back. So I'm going to say I'm okay with this deal. I'm actually fine with this from either side. But I really like getting T Higgins. He's a guy that I'm actually convicted on. So I'd probably sell, or I'd trade Sky Higgins or Sky Moore in the first to get him.
Sky Higgins, that's a new player. I'm pretty high on him.
If there's a player named Sky Higgins, he's clearly a stud.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think if you took the 2 side here, if you took the pick and Sky Moore, then you're okay. But I also think the wide receiver market has shifted over the last couple weeks where you're not buying a receiver like this for a random first. So I think it just comes down to like, is it time to just throw Sky Moore into trades like this to get them done? Because this probably isn't getting done 1 for 1. But as soon as someone goes, I'm throwing in Sky Moore, the person's like, all right, I'll accept it. So I think that's what it takes to get these young receivers that are, that the rookies, guys like Higgins, Waddle, like you got to throw more than a first now to get them. And that's just because that's the currency that everyone's chasing.
Indeed it is. AJ with the super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Trade offer is sitting in my inbox. All right, let's help him out here. 12 team Superflex, 1.75 tight end premium, start 11. Give Brees, Waddle, Deontay, and a 24 first. Get Cam Akers, Chase, Amon-Ra, and a 23 second.
I don't think I do it. I don't think I do it.
It's close.
Nope. Well, look at it this way. I prefer Chase to Brees Hall, but I think if you add the 24 first to Brees Hall, it gets closer. So if you just take Brees Hall and the 24 first close to Chase, you guys think that's somewhat in the ballpark, in the range?
I was gonna say you could like cancel out Amon-Ra and Waddle. Maybe.
No.
I think you can.
No?
Current market, I think they're pretty much equivalent.
Well, you're both wrong because Waddle's a better asset. But anywho, Jesus Christ. Anyhow,
okay. Listen.
Don't bring JC into this.
How about this? I had a debate on another show this weekend. Guru World with David Guattari. We did a quick segment, and it was actually Brees Hall versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. Shane's gonna hate me. I said I would have hate taking Amon-Ra St. Brown. Simply because I think more people want receivers than they want running backs. Would I trade my Brees Hall actively to go get Amon-Ra St. Brown? No, because I've probably roster constructed around having Brees Hall. But I think they're close enough to where you say, all right, Brees Hall and Amon-Ra St. Brown cancel out. Now you're looking at Chase for Waddle, Deontay, and a first.
I'm keeping the give side.
In a start 11, I mean, as much as I love Chase and Amon-Ra, I actually think I'm fine with the give side. This isn't how I want to use my assets to make my team better. If anything, I would want to split an asset like Waddle and try to get 2 more pieces instead of coloring up. You know what I mean? Like I think he's given up the most firepower in a start 11, so I don't think I make the deal.
Yeah, I mean, can you just make this a smaller trade maybe? Like Waddle and a 24 first? can that maybe get you to Jamar Chase? I don't
mean,
know.
In a start 11, maybe not a 24 first, but a 23 first, I'd have to at least think about it in a start 11.
Well, and I think the other thing, if you're a contending team on the get side, and they're throwing you, I don't know, insert a running back in there that actually is good. Because the thing is, like, I'm having to take Cam Akers back. I don't even want Cam Akers really. So, like, give me something that, like, if you take out my 24 first and the 23 second and give me a 23 first, and it's just a straight like 3 for 3, then I think I could lean the get side. But the way that it's structured right now, I just think you're giving up 4 of the top 6 assets, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's some obviously some potential with that trade. So don't do this particular one, but yeah, hopefully we gave you some options there. Okay, let's go here. Might have the worst trade offer here. Was offered Kelsey and Rojo for Pitts, Brees Hall, a top 3 23 first, and a 24 second.
Gosh. Yeah, that's up there. That's pretty bad.
That's probably the worst I've seen this year. Yeah, I mean, Shane sent me better trade offers than that.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrible. That's art. That's basically art. Like, I'm impressed by how bad that offer is.
That's where you kind of want to learn more about that other league mate to find out how weird he or she is.
So if they're, Order 66, if you could do me a favor, just ask them and let them know it's for scientific purposes. If you could just ask their thought process behind that trade, but don't ask them in a meeting.
You know what it was? He goes, he thought it was close, but before he sent it, he just had to throw Rojo in there because that was going to be the kicker that got it over the top.
Yeah, that definitely did it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to thank you very much for that super chat. Appreciate it. And the laughs. So here I thought was a good one because even though we're early on, people are talking rebuilding. They're like, oh man, week 3's passed and my team sucks. Let's blow it up, right? So here was one rebuilding. He's got 4 firsts in 23 and a couple 23 seconds. He has guys who could fetch him more assets for the 23 class. Like he could sell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Elijah Moore, Ayuk, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenny Walker. Should I trade them all and fully commit to a rebuild? Basically, he was looking for strategy around a rebuild. You fully commit and just gut everything except for like true core assets. Like should we sell these pieces?
Yeah, so the only guy out of that list that would be, I keep trying to move myself. The only guy out of that list that would be a core asset to me would be Elijah Moore. Mm-hmm. And Ken Walker, it's a really bad time to trade him just because Pete Carroll's doing his damnedest to make sure that he's not fantasy relevant or football relevant. So I'd hold on to Walker for now. Also, Mooney, if someone's willing to give you something for him at this point that's like a second or a couple seconds, sure, go for it. Claypool, I wouldn't mind holding on to, but just in general, unless it's a core asset, I'm willing to trade literally everybody, and I'm also willing to trade everybody, even if they are a core asset, unless it's a quarterback. To be quite frank.
Yeah, I think the problem is here you're dealing with quote unquote assets that nobody really wants. I happen to like Mooney, Elijah Moore, and Ayuk. I think they're all better than what their current market is. So, or no, excuse me, not Mooney, Claypool. Mooney, you can have Mooney. And that's problem is you can't get anything for him. But he's the guy you got to tack into a trade to get, try to get a 24 second and you give up 2 pieces and he's one of them that you throw in. But I think Claypool, Elijah Moore, and Brandon Ayuk are probably better than what their market is because they're all kind of seen as like the number 2 option on their team or number 3 option on their team. And they're not really on great teams either. So like usually to have one of these like buzzy situations, you got to be like the number 1 that's smashing in target share, or you got to be attached to one of these offense that's everyone eats, and none of these guys are in that. But I think they're all too good to just give away for like seconds.
Yeah.
Everyone else though, Mooney, get anything you can. I'm a little different than Shane on Kenneth Walker. Like what's going to change with Kenneth Walker? I don't think anything. Like I think at best you get you will never even get like Rashad Penny's last year production from Kenneth Walker, I don't think. So like any running back on a rebuild, if I'm not winning this year, get rid of them. Yeah. I can buy next year's Ramondre Stevenson and Kenneth Walker at a depressed price in week 5 if I need running backs. So yeah, there's no such thing as I'm keeping them for next year.
So in this guy's case, move Walker for a 24 first even since he's rebuilding.
Yeah. I think
and like a little throw in running back.
The running backs for sure. Running backs for sure. I think now that you have to be a creative. Like you might find deals where you can package 2 for 1 and get like a 23 first. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But I don't think I'm just selling them all so I can, because those are the type of players you're going to try to buy back next year at like a better situation price. And the price is probably going to be like a first to acquire Elijah Moore next year. So I would just hold.
Sounds good. Colby put this up. Finally made a stream. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining, Colby.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate everybody in here. We got 175 eyeballs right now. Shane, you're the resident like police. How are we doing on likes?
He's not sure because he had to move around in his living room.
Yeah, no, he's actively like sending all sorts of messages.
It's well, actually, what I'm doing is sending out trade offers for Breece Hall, but it's 93 likes. So if we get that over to 100, I'd feel a little better about life.
Yeah, no. Mr. Wonderful is back again with another inbox trade. Hey, we like how busy you are with the trading here. That's what it's all about. Shooters got to shoot. 10-team Superflex PPR start 11. Give Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, and an early 23 second and a mid 23 second. Get Jamar Chase and a 23 third. Again, has 8 23 firsts, bunch of seconds. What do you think?
I'm doing this.
I already hit accept. Like Chase is on my roster already.
Yeah. I'm doing this.
Mr. Wonderful, click accept.
Yeah.
And then tell us that it went through, and you don't have to super chat us saying that it went through. Just tell us in the comments. We appreciate your generosity, man. Okay. We'll put that one here. So we got some other starred. Actually, let's talk about Lamar Jackson real quick. He's freaking smashing right now. Where would he go? Where would he go in a startup? You taking him over Mahomes right now?
Mahomes feels like old faithful. Like I can't move off of him. Like all these
new $1 billion contract.
Yeah, all these new kids keep coming in, like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, and they all keep trying to take Mahomes' spot. I'll say this: Lamar's in the same tier. Like those guys are kind of in the same tier for me. It's just that this year apparently it's Lamar smash season again, as opposed to like Kyler. So same tier. But if someone's willing to give me something on either side of them, you can have them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that you kind of have to look at Lamar, like Lamar's thus far, it's only been 3 weeks, but Lamar's like the best passer in the league too. And no one's really talking about it. Like he's smashing for fantasy, but he leads the league in passer rating, leads the league in yards per attempt. He's trending back towards the numbers he put up with his MVP year, but I mean, he's going to bust the 35 touchdown mark that he's hit in his career. Like he's on pace for now. Is he going to really hit 48 touchdowns or whatever he's on pace for? Probably not.
I'm sure
he doesn't need to though. If he throws 32 touchdowns and runs for 1,100 yards and runs for another 9 touchdowns, like he is going to break fantasy. He's more than 25% of the way to his MVP year numbers where he scored, I think 415 fantasy points in 15 games. And he's already 25% of the way there in 3 games. So you can do the math. Like he's on pace to break it by like 7 points per game or something close to that. So it's crazy. But I mean, you take him over Mahomes. Like, can you buy in that he's going to do this year after year after year?
So 4 point per pass TD, you taking him over Mahomes?
I mean, if 4 point passing touchdowns, he's smashing even the next tier of quarterbacks by like 10 points per game. Is that gonna keep up? I don't know, but I think you have to treat him, even for the short term, you have to put him in this range. If you're going to put Josh Allen in this range ahead of Mahomes and Herbert from the last 2 years, you got to put Lamar in this range. I think they're basically the same thing, but Lamar is just a much more dangerous runner. So yeah, I think if you took him 102 or 101 in a startup, I'm not going to be like, that's the bad move. No way.
Yep.
Yeah, and this will be 2 out of the last 4 years that it'll be the MVP. I'm already giving him the MVP unless something unforeseen happens. But I mean, it's a pretty good accomplishment there. And like he smashed as a thrower in his MVP season, right? So we know it's in his range of outcomes, and we're seeing him do it again. And this is why last year, I'm just going to toot my own horn, everybody kept moving off of him. Oh, I told you he sucked. I told you he could never throw, that if he doesn't learn how to throw, he's going to be. I'm like, dude, he was the MVP because of his throwing. people are like, no, like dumbasses.
Delusional Tanner, 12-team Superflex PPR. Give Sutton, Ken Walker, 23 fourth. Get Brees Hall, Jahan Dotson, and a 23 second.
Immediately, go do that.
Yeah. Definitely do that.
It's basically the gap between Brees Hall and Ken Walker versus Sutton and Jahan Dotson, and you're upgrading a fourth to a second. Yeah.
That's
the other side. It's not Tanner. The other side's delusional here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought I'd throw that up because this is a good segue to this one that we should put up based on what Scott was saying. So Isco's take on is that the high end RBs are going to start smashing, and the sell all RBs narrative is going to take a 180. What do you think about that take?
Well, so here's the thing about Dynasty, right? Most takes are going to take a 180 at one point or another. And you have to be able to adjust. Like I've talked about this in the olden days when me and Scott would do Mannequin Chill. Like, I don't think I'm particularly good at many things, but I'm really good at quickly pivoting and realizing that the market has changed or that a situation has changed. And you have to recognize that. And we're talking about that already. The 23 running backs are going to be a different animal than the running backs that are out there now. Like the running back 2 today is, I don't even know who the running back 2 today is, to be quite frank.
That's right.
I don't even think there is one, right? But next year, the running back 2 is going to be Jonathan Taylor, and Bijan Robinson's at 1. And Sean Tucker is going to be in the top 5. Javonte Williams is going to be in the top 5. Like, it's going to be a much better group of running backs. So yeah, I agree with that. But most takes are going to change. And that's the thing with Dynasty is like, just because it's Dynasty doesn't mean that the strategies have to be set in stone. Like, you need to be able to pivot.
No, exactly. By the way, Scott quit, guys. We're still going to be doing Dynasty Trades in 5. It's just going to suck a little bit more.
All right.
So yeah, stick around though. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do, there's another inbox trade in here. 12-team Superflex. Give Herbert, get Lamar. We were just talking about Lamar, but are you giving Justin Herbert for Lamar Jackson right now, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, give Herbert, get Lamar. Yeah, because one's healthy. The other's got like shattered ribs and no line. Can I get a third though? Just throw a third on there to make me feel better. Like I got something out of him.
That's one of those ones where you're like worried about sending a counter where there's a third in there because you're worried that it's going to blow up the whole deal. But yeah, Scott, weigh in on this. So you decided to come back. You're not quitting Trades in 5 after all.
No, internet issue here. I don't know what's going on.
Scott, so just a little behind the scenes thing here. Scott's trying to renegotiate his contract with Clay. And I don't blame him because Clay doesn't let us out on weekends. Like me and Scott are kept in a basement to do roster reviews. So Scott was trying to get some outside time, and this is just all part of that negotiation process.
Yeah. So real quick on this, Scott, inbox trade here. Would you give Justin Herbert for Lamar right now?
Hard to say no. So yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, do it. YOLO. Okay, let's go to this one here. Marquise Brown or a 23 first mid/late. This is a 12-team start 10 PPR Superflex.
It's weird, right? So Marquise is scoring like I wanted him to, but he just had to do it on 140 targets last week, which I don't think is sustainable. But yeah, he's not. I'm taking that 23 first, and I'm going.
Yeah, I'd still take the first for Hollywood. I mean, he's basically been what you expected, but you've kind of gotten some production from him, so I'd still take the pick.
Yeah, he's still replaceable. You got better flexibility with that 23 first.
Did I miss the question on the running backs are going to circle back around?
No.
Yeah, you did. You were frozen. Luckily, you were frozen with like a decent look on your face too. It wasn't like anything weird. So go ahead.
Well, no, I think that it's whoever made that comment. I forget who put that comment.
It was Isco.
Isco. That's it. I think he's right. The problem is there's going to be less running backs as a whole in the NFL that produce at that level. So having the running backs that hit those marks, having the random 1 or 2 running backs that hits 22 points per game, that's going to be a big advantage. I don't want to chase it though before a season starts and go, okay, here's who's going to do it. I think that's the issue. It's not really it's about the timing. Right now, if I can identify these running backs like Joe Mixon, why the hell do people want Joe Mixon? He sucks. And I'm a Bengals fan. He's terrible. This is his worst year. And I see people out there going, oh, buy him, buy him, buy him. He's getting more targets. Look at all the touches he's getting. He's getting more targets and more touches than he deserves. He's not going to be a difference-making running back. Not in his 6th year. He's never scored more than like 17.5 points per game. He's just never. So there'd be no reason to have him other than a placeholder. If I can trade him and max out his value, because there's people saying, oh, I want to buy the touches. I want to buy the fact that he's 5th in the league in running back targets. That's fine. I'll go ahead and get him off my roster. Let me sell him because he's one of the few running backs I can actually sell right now. And I'll just start Michael Carter every week. And hopefully I can upgrade using that pick or those pieces I get to upgrade in the other positions. And it gives me access to having other running backs in my roster, because what am I doing if I have Joe Mixon? What have I been doing for 3 weeks?
Losing.
I'm starting him religiously because he's going to get a lot of touches, right? But he's not producing. So I think Isco's right. The running back advantage is going to exist, but it's going to be a lot harder to predict because 2/3 of the backfields in the NFL are committed to not giving more than one player 250 touches. So I just don't want those guys. Bijan Robinson goes to the Eagles, I'm completely out. And that's going to be hard for the community to put their heads around. So that's more of the process. It doesn't mean running backs don't matter. So
Look, if Bijan,
I'll take Bijan 101 in 23. Like,
look, if Bijan ends up with the Eagles, so instead of scoring 35 points a game, he will score 30. And I'll be okay with that.
He won't. He'll never score 20 points a game if he goes into one of those situations.
Casey, thank you very much for the super chat. $20.23. 2023. Speak the devil. Bijan Robinson. 12-team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 9, have 823 firsts and need RBs. RBs like Mixon, Chubb, Barkley are going for 2 firsts. You willing to pay that in a win now team or continue with Jacobs, Hines, Elijah Mitchell, etc.? Also, thoughts on Amari Cooper. Let's start with the running backs.
I can barely stomach giving up 123 first for a running back, right? Like, I had to convince myself, like, Barkley had to come out and smash 2 out of 3 weeks for me to go, okay, you can have a first for him. No, I'm not doing it. Although it's start 9. I might, but I don't want it. I don't want
1 QB, half PPR, start 9. Casey's got 823 first, win now. You wouldn't give two firsts for Barkley?
So here's my problem, and this is where I'm going to play a little scared. I don't want to make that deal right now. Can I make that deal later in the season when I know which of these 4 is still healthy and hasn't blown his knee out? Because I got a feeling whichever one I trade for because he's a running back is going to get injured.
So buy 2 of them.
Well, if I could buy 2 of them, if I could get Barkley and Chubb for a couple 23 first, sure.
Yeah.
See, here's what you have to do a little math because it can contradict what I just said 2 minutes ago. It's a 12-team, 1 QB, start 9. So first of all, your 8 firsts is great. The strength that you have in the first is the fact that you have 8 of them. You basically are protected in all those tiers and those slots because you have 8 of the 12 picks. I don't want to make all 8 of those picks. I'm kind of with Shane. You're not going to win in a start 9 by starting Nyheim Hines. When I'm referring to kind of these strategies, a lot of times it's, leagues that are start 11, start 12, where you can get away with that. But it's start 9. So if you're just taking a bath at both your running back spots and you're starting Josh Jacobs and Nyheim Hines, and someone else in the league is starting Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, they're crushing you. They're crushing you by 15 more points per game at those 2 spots. You better have absolute studs at every other Lamar, spot to make up those 15 points. So you have, this is the league to make this kind of move. Here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to go buy 2 of them because you're kind of it's overkill. You have 1 or 2 shots to fire all year. If you trade 2 firsts for Chubb and he blows his Achilles next week, you just kind of got to chalk that up as I have maybe 1 more shot. If I trade for a guy and then he's not producing, you don't keep chasing your tail because you need the running back. Like, you have 1 big move, maybe 1 backup move. But after that, you kind of just have to roll with what you have. I don't want to trade 4 of my firsts for Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon, and then like get to the playoffs and go, yeah, these guys really aren't smashing like I thought they would, and I'm now out 4 first, and my margins of being able to win is 2% better than if I would have just stuck with Josh Jacobs and Elijah Mitchell. That's you got to forecast, and this is why I play in a lot of leagues, because like I'm sure he's looking at his lineup going, damn, man, if I could just put Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley's points per game in there for the rest of the year, I'll give up 4 first.
Get the ship, right?
Until you do it, and then both of them get hurt, and you're going like, all right, I have no retrade liquidity with those guys. So it's just a gamble, man. It's just a gamble. But I think you have one shot, Casey. One big move in you. If you either do it now or you do it later, you got one shot, though. You can't keep buying yourself out of a hole.
And thoughts on Amari Cooper was the second part of that question. What do you think about Amari?
Man, Amari looks like an absolute target hog. I feel like he's really
a good football player.
Definitely turned a corner at age 29. And now that I've been through this before with Amari Cooper, right? Like okay, Scott.
No, I'll just say this. We have evidence now of 2 former Dallas Cowboys that go somewhere else or are in a different situation, and they just get every fucking target.
We're saying it's a Dak Prescott problem and not a.
All I'm saying
Amari
is
Cooper
we shit
problem.
on Amari Cooper for his career market share of 20%, and CeeDee Lamb because he's not an alpha and he only has a career market share of 20%. They leave each other, and all of a sudden, both of them are getting every target possible. So
CeeDee Lamb was also a target hog week 1 with Dak Prescott before he was injured. Amari Cooper was.
Is it an offensive thing though, where for some reason when they were together, it just they were never able to even squeeze out Cedric Wilson for targets? But yet, I don't know.
I mean, I'll say this about Amari Cooper, right? So if he was a 4th-year guy, like say Christian Kirk, moving from, or 5th-year guy, a guy moving from one offense to another, and you know what I mean? Like he's still a young guy, and we've seen some change in basically what he is. I'd be more apt to believe it. It's just that he's been this guy with multiple quarterbacks. He's been this guy with Derek Carr. He's been this guy with Dak Prescott. Now, the one thing in Cleveland is there is literally no one else to throw the ball to besides David Njoku, apparently, because Donovan Peoples-Jones just doesn't like footballs, apparently. I did try to trade for Cooper, so I'll say that. I'd be willing to give up a second for him, and that's not something that I was willing to do before the season.
That's crazy to me because he's at a 30.7% market share. That's not going to continue if you just believe in historical numbers. Like he's not going to stay at 30%. But if you would have told me coming in that his career 20% was going to be 25%, and he's going to get the bonus of Deshaun Watson coming back, like that's a top 24 receiver almost locked in when you count the 25% plus the historical efficiency of Watson.
For sure.
So like, what is the difference between, and you're going to look at me like I'm insane. What is the difference between a 25% Amari Cooper with Deshaun Watson? What's the difference between that and Devontae Adams?
Well, if Devontae's getting 35%, it's still a pretty big gap.
Yeah, well, I mean, Devontae right now is not at 35%. He's at 29.3 with a shittier quarterback. I'm just saying we're looking at these. I think I'm not saying he's better than Devontae Adams, but before the season, you would have said Devontae Adams is worth 5 times as much as Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
and it's probably not that. Like I think he would be one of the few receivers I would be willing to buy on a 28-year-old veteran that is overproducing his history for the stretch run simply for these numbers. And maybe I'm going to be wrong, but I'll buy it at 25% market share with the Deshaun Watson offense. That's worth the risk down the stretch.
Yep. First name, thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. 12-team Superflex PPR, 6-point per passing touchdown. Give T-Law a 25 first and a 24 second for Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically straight up. Shane doesn't think 2025 is ever going to happen.
Dude, 2025 is so far away. You're getting freaking Deshaun Watson. He's a top 5 dynasty quarterback. If it wasn't for his proclivities, he'd be putting up numbers right now, and he'd be probably a top 3 dynasty valued quarterback. Yeah, do that, bro.
Also, would you buy Devontae Adams now at his reduced price if you're competing next year? Or just waiting until next year? He's never going to go up in price. So if you don't need him now, don't buy him now, right?
No, that wouldn't make sense to buy him now if you're not competing this year.
I'd rather just buy him next year when he's 30% cheaper, and I can wait a year to see what happens with him, because you already know what's going to happen to his price. It's going to go, wait till February and then buy Devontae Adams. People will be throwing him around for early seconds.
Yep. Okay, thanks again. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go to another super chat here. Stephen Hines, I recognize this name from a roster review. 12-team PPR Superflex start 11, no tight end premium. Give Adam Thielen, Kyle Phillips 24 first, 25 first, 25 second. Get Waddle 23 second, and a 25 third. Yes.
So you gave up the bottom of your roster and a first from a year that we're not even sure is a real thing, as well as a 24 first.
To be determined.
Yeah.
People think 25 is going to be a real thing.
Yeah,
calendars are going to be made with 2025, but
this is like going into a store, something costs $20, you pull out a couple dollars out of your wallet, you pull out a savings bond that doesn't appreciate till like 2030, and you're like, here, can I buy that $20 item? And they take it. Smash it.
It's a great analogy there. Yeah, smash that. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. Okay, well, let's go to this one right here. Dylan, thank you very much. 12-team Superflex PPR 1.5 tight end premium rebuild. Traded away Kyler, Hawk, Nuke, Reynolds for Dak, AJ Dillon, DK Metcalf. Always enjoy the show.
Oh man, Kyler's moving into the Dak Prescott range quickly, huh? Is there any chance Cliff Kingsbury gets fired this year? Any?
I think it's possible, but he's just signed that extension, so I don't know.
Good chance he gets fired next year?
I think the thing is, like, I'm not sure if they're going to be so woefully bad. They got a tough schedule, but I don't know. I don't mind the Dak side. I mean, I'm higher on DK than you guys, though.
No, I love
Shane's
DK.
Extremely high on DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I love DK, but it's just that Dak he's that, that low QB1. It's just how far has Kyler fallen, and I can't wrap my head around he's in the Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins range now. Like, he can't be that guy, and I can't see that. I can't believe it. So I'm going to hold on to the Kyler, and then try to trade Hawk, Nook, and Reynolds for like even AJ Dillon, and just feel good and be like, well, we'll talk quarterbacks later, bro. We'll talk quarterbacks later.
Yeah.
My only concern is on the get side. I mean, DK Metcalf's good, but obviously he's going to be limited by his situation. So it's really like you have to have faith to buy him. But like, is AJ Dillon any good? He's okay. Like I guess you could probably say, like, if Kyler was smashing and he was a top 5 quarterback, would you add those pieces to go up during a season? You know what I mean? Like, I think I'd almost rather go the other way. It's just the difference in like what Kyler's doing right now which is making him probably want to sell off of him.
Here's the thing. You know what? Look, we've seen Kyler have bad stretches in the end of years, right? And have really good stretches in the beginning of the year. So there's literally nothing to say that this isn't going to course correct, that Cliff Kingsbury can't be this bad. DeAndre Hopkins is coming back, even if he is a terrible head coach. An offense with DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, and Zach Ertz, and super weapon Greg Dortch. That's an offense you can believe in. I'm gonna trust in Kyler here. I'm not giving up Kyler for that.
It is concerning. This is a second straight year where Kyler Murray he's not running. Which is concerning. Like, if he's not running for 500 yards and all he is a pocket passer, I mean, I'd rather have Dak Prescott, the pocket passer, than Kyler Murray if they're going to be the same thing. So that's where it's tough for me. Like, if Kyler's only going to run for 300 yards or 400 yards, like, you could get that from a lot of other guys you wouldn't expect it. So it's tough.
Yep. I threw this one up here real quick. Pierce or Walker for Zach Wilson?
Listen, it's a big leap of faith.
Trade Kenneth Walker for Zach Wilson right now? Superflex, I would.
Is that Alec Pierce?
No, Damian
Pierce?
Yeah, I know, spelled differently, but yeah.
Dude, immediately trade Pierce for Wilson. Yes.
And Ken Walker.
I would trade Ken Walker for.
See, I said Ken Walker, and then I look at Shane's face because he's like, well.
I mean, look, if I had to, yes, I would trade Walker for Zach Wilson. I would try to work my way around that. Like, this guy's giving us a choice: lithium, says it's Pierce or Walker. So I'm sending Pierce.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Joseph Grant, we'll throw this up here. Thank you very much. Given what we've seen so far, it doesn't make sense to ever invest a first-round startup pick in a running back. It seems as if the NFL is changing.
Correct. Joseph, you did have to pay $5 for that, but that's a thank you for the super chat. You smashed it. You're absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah. I mean, because even this past startup season, we were saying, if you take Jonathan Taylor in the first round, you better plan on trying to win that year. It's none of this getting cute with your build. You have to try to contend right away because they're going to turn into, freaking pumpkins if you're going the RB route.
Well, and especially if you're going to do the startup in like February, you know how much can happen with your team of all the other players you drafted, all the moves you made in February.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing is more suboptimal than somebody that goes into a startup in February or March and will trade away all their future picks, and they'll think they can just thread the needle and pick the perfect contending squad in March.
Yeah.
And they get to August, and it's like, man, I don't even have one of the best teams. What do I have? Hey, does anyone want to trade for Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah.
I don't think I can win this year. It's like, well, you traded all your future picks, and you don't think you can win this year, and now you're trying to trade the one running back that has value on your team. Like, you see that a lot, though. So definitely early startups, too. Like, no way.
Yeah, no way. Scott McCoy, thank you very much for the super chat. 12 team, 1 QB, no premium. T. Higgins and Mark Andrews for Jamar Chase and TJ Hawkinson.
No, sir.
I'm not. The delta between Andrews and Hawkinson is so big, and it's not as big of a delta between Higgins and Chase as the market says.
If delta means gap, I 100% agree with you. Because, Andrews and Hawkinson barely are playing the same sport at this point. Like, they don't even look like they're playing in the same universe. So, yeah, I'm going to hold on to Andrews. I'm going to hold on to Andrews and Higgins there.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go to I'm going to go to another question that we had. All right. Scott talks about how most of his teams follow a similar build. How much does the ideal build change in a half PPR? So let's say a 12-team Superflex, half PPR. Is it maybe 1 to 2 less threshold wide receivers since more RBs are flex worthy? And Scott, if you wouldn't mind, start it off by defining. You use the word threshold wide receivers a lot. Just give a easy explanation of what a threshold wide receiver is to you.
Yeah, easy explanation for this topic.
Try in 30 seconds. What is the threshold wide receiver?
Yeah, so I'll just give a quick example. We always use the 12-team start 10, right, as the baseline for what we're evaluating trades. 12-team start 10, super flex. Usually we're doing 3 receivers, and if you just do the math on that, it's going to be 2 flexes. Aside from the super flex, I'm assuming a super flex is always a quarterback. So in your given league, 12-team, 3 receivers, there's 36 receivers that are going to be started across the league, right? So that's already 36 right there. They're out. Then you have the 2 flex spots. So historically in half PPR, so this is where the difference comes in. Full PPR versus half PPR. You're looking at about a 50-50 ratio, assuming there's no tight end premium here either. If you start getting into like 2 PPR or point per carry, it changes it. But if you're just talking PPR versus half PPR, you're looking at about a 50% ratio of running backs versus wide receivers if you're looking at like optimal scoring. So think like best ball scoring. So half the time a receiver is going to go in the flex, half the time a running back is going to go in the flex. So that's kind of the really loose idea of the threshold. 36 receivers in the lineup. There's 24 that could be in the 2 flex spots, half and half. So you're talking about like 48 receivers or so is the threshold. Now that's for like, if you fall below that, you're below kind of like the median of the league. And I always want to try to be on the high end of it. So I don't want to be just in the top 48. I want to probably be like top 40 or top 45. Like that's my cutoff. So that's what I mean by the threshold. So that's probably the threshold in a half PPR. It's probably like the top 40, top 45 receivers. Once you start get down lower, you're basically starting like the lowest common denominator. And when I say threshold for your dynasty team, that doesn't have to be just like a top 40 receiver in dynasty. It can be a producer that's not valued as a top 40 receiver in dynasty, but a guy that can give you a 1-year gap. You know, think of like an Adam Thielen type, right? Someone like that's never going to be a top 40 receiver in Dynasty. But for 1 year, you could count him as a threshold receiver that could crack that top 40. So that's what it is. Like, and the logic is you don't want to really roster receivers outside of that range because you don't necessarily know when you're going to play him. There's the one-offs, the Greg Dortches for a couple weeks, the Richie Jameses. Like, they can give you some weekly production, but that's not how I want to play. I'd much rather build my team around having like 5 or 6 of those guys that I can always rotate. And that's the idea of the threshold. So I'm basically trying to get 7 or so guys in that range, and then I'm done. And every year I want to hit that mark. Every other roster spot I have aside from that is allocated towards other positions. Extra running backs, backup quarterbacks, coloring up, doing 2-for-1s where I can add picks and upgrade at quarterback, get an upgrade at tight end. So I think that's the idea that he's talking to. It doesn't change a lot. It's maybe 1 or 2 extras on your roster build. If you're talking 30-man rosters, the difference between carrying 9 receivers in a PPR league versus 7 or 8 in a half PPR. That's it. And then you carry an extra couple running backs. So hopefully I did that in like 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, but that's basically the idea. So it's just a couple extra running backs, I would say. Good question.
That's good shit. You make people feel dumber. So thanks for that, Scott. Robert Holland, give Mahomes and Waddle, get Kyler, Chase, and a 23-second.
I'm good. Dude. Mahomes and Waddle.
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that, bro? No, we're gonna pass on that. I love Waddle, and I guess I'm high on Waddle. But I shouldn't be giving up Mahomes. No. Kyler, if I'm getting
Kyler's just not inspiring right now.
But if I'm getting him, I should be getting him at a discount. Like the only reason he should be on the block, and Mahomes ain't part of the discount. Like, if he wants to take McCorkle Jones with 2 working legs, so we'll pretend he didn't just blow up his ankle or whatever happened to him. Something like that, sure, but nah.
Jeff, thank you for the super chat. 12-team Superflex half PPR. Give Ramondre Stevenson and James Cook. Receive Travis Etienne.
Come on, Shane. It's James Cook.
Look, I'd take Etienne every day.
I'll take Etienne and just
every day of the week.
Yeah,
but that the saddest part of that is that I had to actually think about that.
Yeah, we're working on that new wins over replacement tool, and shout out to Dynasty Barry, one of my boys. But let's just say James Cook's at the very, very bottom. So like, and the problem is James Cook was probably in a couple lineups like week 1, maybe week 2, just praying that he got a couple catches. Nobody probably started him in week 3 when he actually got a couple catches. But
I did.
You did? All right. Credit to Shane. Shane had the faith all the way through.
Hopefully it was a start 14.
It's on a tanking roster, but still, I mean, I'm still taking credit for it.
So he basically hurt you again, right? By scoring a couple points?
Basically.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so let's we've got a couple Russ things start here. Can Russ still cook, and what would you pay? Let's not talk too much about Russell Wilson, but he was on the thumbnail, so we probably should talk about him some.
He makes me sad. Look, what's funny is I've never liked Russell Wilson, right? And then this offseason, I'm like, all right, well, he got traded to Denver. They're clearly going to throw the ball out. They're going to tailor the offense to him because what was I using? Rationality, because that would make sense. And then he gets there, and they're like, no. This offense is not suited for him in any way whatsoever, and we're going to run slow as possible. He does. Robert Holland in the chat says he looks cooked. He certainly does, man. But can I get him cheap? Because then I'll get him. But I'm not going out of my way.
That's what Danny said. Should we buy low on Russ?
I mean, how low are we talking?
How low? I mean, would you give a 24 first for him in the Superflex? No problem.
I'd probably go try to get Lance instead.
No.
I would give it 24 first for him.
I'm not getting Lance. I don't want Lance instead of Russell Wilson. We don't have to get into the Lance topic, but I have no interest in Lance.
I have no interest in giving up any first for Russell Wilson right now. Maybe a 24. 25, my favorite. I'll give you a 25 for Russ.
Not going to be around anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. So we've got we're already 59 minutes in. We'll keep going for a bit here, but I had teed up a bunch of inbox trades in the hopper. We've got a lot of folks in the audience here, but let's ram through a bunch of these that I already had. Okay, real quick. You ready for rapid fire, boys?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. We missed a trade.
We missed one?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh, Mark, thank you very much. 2023. Very generous. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, thanks for the stream as always. Annual mid-season startup coming up. I'm jealous. Do you have any openings? Who are some of the biggest risers in rounds 2 to 4 range that would look like reaches a month ago?
We do on Superflex, I assume.
Always.
You never know. You never know. Well, I have the last. I have a couple Superflex ADP sites up looking at right now. So throw me a name, Shane, that you think is a riser, and I'll tell you where they're going.
Where's Trevor Lawrence going?
Trevor Lawrence is going 208 in a 12 team.
I'll tell you what, he was probably going right around that range before, but now I'd actually feel okay doing it and not discuss it with myself and fearful. Where was Jalen Waddle going a couple months back? After the Tyreek Hill signing, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the Jalen Waddle, a lot of the receivers, see, I would say this. I think a lot of the team builds are probably going to start following what's hip during this season. So I bet you're going to see a lot of receivers that are jumped up way, way higher. Like you're going to be.
Amon-Ra is going to go super high.
Yeah. Amon-Ra. I wouldn't be surprised to see Drake London go in the first 2 rounds, to be quite frank.
Yeah, I mean, I took Drake London. I mean, it's a 1 QB, but in our last mock for DLF, I took Drake London at the 106.
Yeah.
So like that, it's 1 QB, but still, like, I actually think if I was doing a midseason startup, this would be my strategy. Receivers are going to get chased so heavily that after the top, I don't know, 5 or 6 quarterbacks, like you're probably going to see, if we did a startup right now, you're probably going to see a round 4 like Russell Wilson in the startup. You know, like people are going to go, you know what? There's no difference between, like, I don't really want Dak Prescott. I really don't want Russell Wilson. I'm not paying the 105 to get Kyler Murray. I'd rather have, you know, Justin Jefferson, you know, or Jamar Chase. I'll just wait on quarterback because I mean, is anyone really chasing Derek Carr right now? You know, like in the offseason, it was like a lot harder to get the quarterbacks for certain builds. But I think they would fall because we're starting to see like different levels of quarterbacks. So yeah. I think I'd probably wait on quarterback a little more. If I can get a top 5 pick and lock in, you know, Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, I'll wait on my second quarterback because I don't think it's worth taking like Russ in the early to mid second like you would have in the offseason. No, so yeah, receivers. If you want to get receivers, like by round 3, there'll be like 15 of them gone, which was the opposite, you know, during the summer.
Yeah, stay in touch, Mark. During it, we'll help you out, and we'll be curious to hear how it's going. Thank you very much. Okay, can you hide that one, Shane, if you put that up?
Sure. We got an inbox trade.
12-team Superflex start 10. Give Breece Hall, get Michael Pittman and Chris Olave.
Smash it.
Yes.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes. Thank you very much, KB. Appreciate that. Okay. Like I said, let's ram through a few of these, and then we'll go back to the live comments. Inbox trade: 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 tight end premium start 11. Give Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle, get Cam Akers and Jamar Chase. No, thank you.
No.
Keep the
that
keep
is how side. You sneak Cam Akers in a trade to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we've seen a couple trades now where Cam Akers has been like postured as like an actual valuable piece in a trade. For like the other side gets all the good players. So yeah, that's how you get rid of Cam Akers. No, well done.
Because he had a touchdown last week, so people are hoping you didn't realize that he didn't get any touches in the first half, and he also fumbled in the second half. But anyhow,
yeah. 12-team Superflex start 11. Give Lamar Jackson. Yeah, it's giving Lamar, getting Matt Ryan. So right off the bat, you're tearing down to Matt Ryan. I don't care how many first you have. And then context currently has Lamar, Mahomes, and Jimmy G. Yeah, keep Lamar and Mahomes as your quarterbacks in a super flex.
Just think about that. You'd go from however you want to argue it. Say Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback 2 to
Matt
Ryan being your quarterback 2. No, don't do that. Yeah. That's malpractice. If you do that, I'm going to find you and take your teams away from you.
Yeah. I've got his name from the community chat post. So
awesome.
12 team Superflex PPR tight end premium start 10. Give Drake London, get a 23 first mid, Freiermuth, and Kenny Walker.
I'm going to hold on to Drake.
I defer to Shane because it's Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, no, I'm not blind. You know what I mean? Like I'm taking Ken Walker. I'm taking Drake London here. I mean, like, look, I like Ken Walker, but when you put you put the shotgun to the back of my head and you're like, you have to decide if this is the decision I need to make. I'm taking Drake London all day.
Yep. Drake London. Okay, we'll do one more in here, then go back. Inbox trade, 12 team, 1 QB, PPR start 8. Give Khalil Herbert late 23 first. Get Joe Mixon 24 second. Still have a mid 23 first left over.
In 4 weeks, if David Montgomery is fully back, then sure. But right now, like if Montgomery isn't playing, I would rather probably start Khalil Herbert over Joe Mixon, or at least are in the same range. So there's just no reason. That is one of those examples where that format, a start 8, 1 QB, down the road is where you want to make a big swing at a running back. But you've literally been given like an early Christmas gift with Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
That this is the last time you would consider making that trade. So,
yep. Mark, thank you very much. Hello, boys. He says 12 team super flex, start 10 PPR, sending my Justin Jefferson for a Amon-Ra St. Brown, a 23 first and a 24 first, unless you stop me. I need co-signers on this. I actually just posted that TikTok and Instagram with this trade almost specifically. We talked about it the other day. What do you think, guys?
I'm good with it. You're getting, listen, you're not getting Amon-Ra for less than first. You're getting 3+ first here.
Value. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think?
No.
Yeah, you're not doing it.
Shane's not doing it.
I don't care. He's the wide receiver 1. He has 2 bad games, and all you people are ready to just toss him to the side. You forget what he did in his first 2 seasons? The 2 greatest statistically. The best start to a football wide receiver's career ever. Like, dude, he is transcendent. Yeah. Look, he's had a couple bad weeks because it's a new offense. Dude, you're crazy. No, it's a good return. I'll say that. It's a good return. I'm not doing it, though.
Yeah, it was in our last live stream where we covered this. I remember it was this guy, Elijah, who posted it saying that he was having regrets trading Amon-Ra and all that stuff for Jefferson. And the TikTok was, Shane, why are you regretting this? I'd still be touching myself. you just got the wide receiver 1. Oh man, TikTok is whatever. It's a little crazy, but if you guys are on it, follow us. Liam, who does a lot of our editing, he makes ridiculous reels. They're pretty freaking sweet. Okay, thank you, Mark. We'll hide that one. Oh, Cougsy. Look at this. Look at how shredded he is, by the way, in his avatar there. Yeah, he's got some kind of freaking sword. Yeah, I need a sword.
That's what Shane used to look like before he started playing Dynasty.
Yeah,
Shane, yeah.
I'm you Koopski in 6 years.
This is your body on Dynasty. Contending roster except at QB. He's got Carr and Baker. Very strong, deep at wide receiver and running back. 12 team, start 11. Give Jefferson, Baker a 23 second. Get Kyler and Dotson.
It's not terrible. I'd be shooting a little higher, and I'd add to the Jefferson side to try to go higher, like try to get to the Lamar, Allen, Herbert, Mahomes tier. The Baker in the 23 second is just kind of riffraff thrown into the trade. And I don't need Dotson back if I can get one of those guys. But if this is one of those where if this is his only access to getting a quarterback that he thinks could be a difference maker, I guess you kind of got to decide, is this the big move you want to make? But there's a lot of leagues where I'm in, I don't want to say I'm in this exact situation, but I'm like, man, I wish I could get another elite quarterback. And it's not that I won't pay the price. It's nobody will move him. Even Kyler. It's like, I'm not selling Kyler unless it's 3.5, 4 first. And I'm like, yeah, that's not his market price. So
And at least it's a start 11. Like Dotson's a starter in a start 11.
Yep. He's a starter in like
start 10. Yeah, I mean you could still start him in a start 10, but
Baker's one of those guys. If you are starting him, he's probably neutral at best. Like he's not really helping you.
Yeah.
So
I'm in a position where I have Geno and Baker fighting it out for my QB2 room after Trey Lance broke all his ankles. And I gotta say, it doesn't feel good, but it did feel good starting Geno this week over Baker, because Baker is a terrible, terrible choice.
Oh, that's Gardner Minshew. That's not Cougsy.
I got
whatever.
You.
I'm still gonna, like, when I see your name, I'm gonna assume that you're jacked and have a sword.
Me too.
Sorry, it's staying like that. Thanks for the heads up, though. Stephen Hamron, thank you for the super chat. Follow up from the Dynasty and Chill Zoom. So this is a Dynasty and Chill patron, clearly. Regarding start 2 tight end, gave A-Rob, got Alberto. Okay, that's the end of it. Gave A-Rob, got Alberto. Start 13, 2 tight end, 1.75 tight end premium, 0.25 points for first down. There's also a 0.25 first down for tight end bonus. Tight ends are kind of a big deal, clearly. No idea how to value good or bad tight ends and neglected in startup. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I want to say like, oh, you should have gotten a better tight end, but because of the format, this is probably the best you can do. I'm hoping at some point when the Denver offense doesn't look like, a child's running it, that perhaps this one, that Alberto will start being a useful piece. So I'm fine with it because Allen Robinson is just a guy.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this at length, and it was basically the accessibility of getting tight ends in this type of format is so difficult that, like, you might sit there on paper and you go, Alberto is terrible, but relative to the position and relative to what it would mean if you had an extra tight end to play, that was at least startable. Like, you got to shoot your shot. This is what it's going to cost. Nobody's going to just sell one of them for a second. You know what I mean? It's just one of those formats where you got to shoot your shot. And I don't think this was a bad shot. Like, Allen Robinson's not winning anything for you. So if Alberto is a 0, pretty good chance, kind of like the replacement value of the difference between the two is minimal. So I like that price. I think that's how you do it. You don't want to pay a young player. You wouldn't want to give up a guy like Jamison Williams for a tight end or something like that. Like, you kind of are giving up a capped asset that if Allen Robinson is wide receiver 30 this year in that format, he's not helping you. So that I like it. I like the risk. It's a big risk. You only can probably do a couple of those swings, but you know what? Screw it.
Yep. Okay. Let's ram through a bunch of these here. Okay. Let's go super speed. Tyler, 12-team Superflex start 11, gave Bateman 23 first projected late and Landry for Pitts and David Bell. I have Watson for a potential stack and have 23 first still.
I'm good with it.
Yep. Yeah, you're buying low on Pitts because of the panic. Good job.
Yep. Nice job.
Good job. Love the content. We love you, Corey Russell. 12-team, 1 QB, start 10, half PPR. Send Derrick Henry, receive Kareem Hunt, and a 24-second.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
If it's a first, yes. Half PPR. This is one of those where it's like, I want to get out of Derrick Henry, but I'm basically getting back like 3 quarters for $1 here. I'm not really able to do much with the quarters. So if that's a first, I do it. A second, 24-second, and a half PPR, 1 QB. No thanks.
I don't care what Scott says. I'm making the deal. I don't care what Clay says. I'm still making the deal. I get Kareem Hunt, who's going to produce as well as Derrick Henry on many weeks. And then I get a second that I can use stuff for.
Okay. Let's see here. Would you all be willing to take 2 random firsts for AJ Brown in a 10-team 1 QB, or should I ask for another piece to go along? Dilemma being I have Devontae and him on the same roster.
No, it's 10-team. It's 1 QB. They're randoms. It's randoms is like code for they're probably going to be late, and I just don't want to say that. But I want to move off of AJ Brown because I have Devontae Smith on my team. No, I'm fine. I don't even care that you have Devontae and AJ Brown. You saw last week they can both be fantasy relevant, right? You saw the week before they can both be fantasy relevant. It was really only in week 1 where one of them was shut out, and that seems to have course corrected.
Yep. Okay. Hide that one here. FF Uncle Piff, Waddle, Hall, or Higgins, and Terry McLaurin.
Waddle and Hall by a mile.
Hall. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Look at Shane. He's so confused.
I'm thoroughly confused by
Waddle,
this question.
Breece Hall, or T. Higgins, Scary Terry.
Yeah. I apologize. I should not have sent that offer to you. That is awful. Now that I see it in black and white, that is horrendous. And I apologize.
You sent that, Shane?
I don't want to talk about it.
Wait, was Shane trying to buy Breece Hall about 45 minutes ago?
Yeah.
And you sent Zach Litton that trade while we were live streaming?
I recognize that offer. It's a terrible
And he put your
offer.
ass on blast during the stream?
As he should. And look, when I saw it, I said, that's a terrible offer without even realizing it's what I sent. And look, we were talking about bad offers earlier. Look, just because I'm an analyst doesn't mean that I'm not going to try to get over on people that are in my listener leagues. I don't care. I'm going to try anything.
I'm in a league with
but Zach, I'm all about. I would definitely love to get Breece Hall off you. So
yeah, Zach, make Shane add at least a first onto that other side, and maybe 2 firsts, and then he can get his boy Breece Hall.
Man, that definitely did look awful when I saw it in black and white, like so bad that like I didn't even recall that I made that offer, just that it was awful. That looking at it, so
and you made it while we're streaming. What else are you doing while we're live streaming?
Banking, a little bit of
taxes. Yeah.
I look over and I see taxes in our group me tabs. I see Shane posting in like 8 different channels.
Yeah. He's always doing something. But hey, we love Shane. Shane is the best, not the worst. Okay, let's ram through some more of these. Inbox trade, 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 8. Give Chubb, get a top 5, 23 first, 23 third, 24 second, 24 third. Start 8, 1 QB, half PPR.
I'm still gonna say, yeah, I'll take the 23 first, only because you're telling me it's a top 5. Because I guarantee you, whichever running back I take there, I'm gonna want more than Chubb.
I mean, I think this is just one of those where it's like you already know your roster. If you're constructed right, you need Nick. I mean, if you want to keep Nick Chubb and go, I'm not going to take a random, what could be the 105, 106 in a 1 QB form, then you don't do it. But I think that's probably just roster dependent.
And just real quick after this trade, I gotta show a trade.
Okay, 12 team Superflex, half PPR, start 10. Give Jahan Dotson a mid 23 first, a late 23 first, and an early 23 second. Get Jalen Waddle and a 24 first.
No, I'm good. I'd rather have the 2 firsts and Dotson and just kind of work myself with those assets versus pay all that for Waddle. Yeah. Take out one of the late firsts or take out one of the 23 firsts and the 24 firsts. I'd consider it.
Yeah. Try to find a different way of getting Waddle. That's a lot.
All right, this is Gator J. This is one of my co-hosts. On Fantasy Intervention on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, Gator J, 10 team, 1 QB. Edmonds for a 23 second and David Bell.
Yeah. Just David Bell in the second.
Yep, do it.
Yeah, take the package. Okay, let's go to this right here. Give 23 first, mid late, get Chris Olave.
10 team, 1 QB. Yep, do it.
Yep. Inbox trade, 12 team Superflex PPR 1.5 tight end premium, start 10, full rebuild. Give the 2023 103 to 106, get Breece Hall. Context, I have 6 23 first and 7 24 first. So I know we always, you don't want to focus on running backs in a rebuild, but that's pretty good value, right? To get Breece Hall, like, wouldn't you just want that asset and then you could flip for something else? What do you think?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I'm good with it, especially because you kind of got that, depending on what pick you're giving up, you kind of have it protected by having all those other picks. So, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to power move by. All right, what else do we have in our in this one here? Dylan, 12 team half PPR, 1 QB, start 8. Give Debo and Miles Sanders for Garrett Wilson, 23 first.
Yes.
Hesitant because I'm reigning champ. Congrats on that. Have the most. Yes.
So this brings up an interesting point. Like, and Scott has brought this up before. Like, even if you're the you think you're going to be the one that wins, you have to make moves like this to continue to win. Because this is how you replenish your roster, right? Because you get Wilson, who is going to be better than Debo or Debo-ish, and a first, which is clearly making up that difference because Miles Sanders doesn't matter in a start 8. If you're starting Miles Sanders in a start 8, well, you're going to lose anyway.
Yeah, take that Garrett Wilson on the first side for sure.
And I'm not saying that Garrett Wilson's going to be better than Debo Samuel, but I think where both of them are going to slot in. I mean, this year, Garrett Wilson thus far is better than Debo Samuel. So, like, you're basically trading Miles Sanders for a first, and you're looking at the receivers as it's a wash. So I think that's how you got. Shane nailed it. Like, Shane was going to say what I was going to say, or Shane said what I was going to say. Like, you make this move, you still win, and now you turn Miles Sanders in a first, and now you have a first next year to continue to win. So yeah, you always be looking for moves like that. Great trade.
Yep. Okay, we're about to call it, but Patty's got an inbox trade.
Done.
Would you send CMC, Tyler Algier, Trey McBride, and a 23 second for Jake London, James Conner, and a 23 first? Yes.
Would you send Christian McCaffrey for Drake London? Yes.
Yes.
So everything else, you're basically getting a first and a running back that can at least be a placeholder for Christian McCaffrey for Tyler Algier and Trey McBride. Yes.
Yeah. Do it. Okay. What do you think, guys? Go for just another couple minutes here.
Yeah, let's go for another couple minutes.
I'm going to tease this one. Danny, you are not screwed, but stay tuned to maybe some future episodes where we're going to do some 23 pick discussion / mock drafting. I don't think you're screwed, but even I have shifted my mindset on the 23 first. I've been trading them away like hotcakes for this same reason, and I don't think it's because the players are going to be bad, but I just think the bang for your buck is trying to shop the picks with where we're currently heading, and we'll get more into that on future episodes. But I think that was a good topic, but it's too much to cover right now.
Indeed. Okay.
I'm going to tease it. I'm going to say you're screwed. Watch the next episode.
Before we jump though, we got 205 eyeballs here. Shane,
insane.
How are we looking on the likes? I know it's tough. It's tough to get off. We got a lot of people who are hanging with us. We appreciate that.
The likes are not matching up with how many people are watching. Oh no! Well, it's not bad. 171 likes. I appreciate that.
That's very strong. Nicely
that is
done.
Actually very awesome. And if you're not a sub, go ahead and hit sub because I'm going to be a sub whore until we hit 3K. Because for many reasons, I have OCD, and we're very close to that number. And I don't like seeing 2.93 because it's a weird number. I don't know what that means even. And like when it says 3, at least I know what that means, and then I'll whore myself out for 4,000 subs. But yeah, come on, sub.
Yeah, for sure. Dustin, thank you, Shane, Scott, and Clay for the roster review today. Like the idea of consolidating my draft capital and using my 723 firsts and 4 seconds to target specific guys, or target specific like Bijan, Krugster.
We always we try to give people a tagline. So if they message us, because the roster reviews are out of control at this point, so we try to give a tagline of how we can, get a frame of reference when we get a message. So I like the idea of doing exactly what you're talking about. My only hesitation is just don't try to forecast it too early. Don't get cute unless you're really, really sure where those picks are going to fall. Because by having 723 firsts, like you're going to control that board, to the point where there's going to be opportunities for you to basically move and get whatever you want. But thanks for the roster review, Dustin. Good stuff.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And we always roster reviews always come up on these live streams because we get a bunch of shout outs, people enjoying theirs. Yeah, Cameron, how do we get a roster review? So let me throw it up here. Email dynastytradesin5@gmail.com or Twitter DM us at tradesin5. So we do charge for these to help give Shane some iced coffees here and there. Scott needs more ice for his ice baths after his powerlifting workouts, whatever the hell he spends it on, cat food. And I don't even know what I do with it. I buy my wife flowers for letting me be on a live stream for hour and 24 minutes on a Tuesday night. But yeah, so we charge for them, but we're getting a lot of great feedback. What it looks like is this right here. So I'm gone, which is probably a good thing. And it's Shane and Scott on either side of your roster breaking it down. And it's a lot of fun. They do a very thorough breakdown. They don't actually go through the league and make specific trade suggestions, but they got it. And yeah, it's good stuff. I get to watch them all. They're fun. All right,
I will say this though.
Yeah.
That you want to send us a link, we could start looking at teams in your league and start telling you specific trade offers.
Or I'll say this: you get a thorough questionnaire where you're filling out a lot of information about your league. The more you put in there, the better roster you can get. So there's always questions about context of your league. What do the other teams look like? Yeah. Is it top heavy? Is it active with trading? Are there a couple teams that are super stacked? A couple teams that are terrible? Like, the more context you give, the more we have to work with. And there's been a lot of times where that extra context, we go down rabbit holes on the shows, and we're going 30 minutes on topics you didn't even ask, but it probably is valuable when you're looking at your team. So the more you can give us, the more you'll get back. So appreciate it.
Yep. Okay. Let's do one more. Shane, pop one up.
Oh, I get to choose?
You get to choose the last one.
Oh, Jesus Christmas. No, you're getting okay. Here we go.
Is London valued higher than Brees now?
Man, I don't want to take the cop-out answer and say it's roster construction standpoint. Like, that, I would prefer Brees on certain builds, but I think if I had to just pick without knowing any context, I'd take London.
Yeah, I
take London because more people will want London. I think I have more of a fluid currency with London than with Brees Hall, but it's a 50-50. I depending on the team, I could go the other way. So don't send me your Brees Hall for my Drake London and expect me to just follow what I'm saying on the live stream. So maybe I'm a hypocrite for that.
You're not a hypocrite, because I think Drake London's he's definitely valued over Brees Hall right now. But I'm not sending out Drake London for Brees Hall for Drake London offers because, well, one, I am a little biased towards Brees Hall, and I think the guy's a superstar, and I think he's going to be. And two, I don't want to have Drake London in 58 leagues because, well, I just don't want one player in 58 leagues. That's a little bit of overexposure. I like to keep it at like 20% is the absolute highest I like to go. But yeah, I can see definitely a narrative where London is higher than Brees Hall.
So some might say that 58 leagues is overexposure to dynasty football, but
well, those people are silly and need to stop having families.
That's how we end it.
Right, that's there. A perfect way to end it. Hey guys, good times. So thanks everybody in the crowd who's still here. We appreciate you. This is a great little community we think we're building here with you guys. So much appreciated. Guys, want to say anything else?
No, man, like you said, I appreciate everybody showing up on a Tuesday night to watch us talk about fantasy football, answer some trade questions, doing super chats, sending us roster reviews, hitting up the DMs. I tell Clay and Scott all the time, like, I've been doing content producing for, I don't know, a long time, and I haven't had this much interaction in the 5 years I was doing it beforehand. Since the year I've been doing this, and I love it. You guys are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Guys and gals.
And you got to give Shane credit. I mean, you can find some Shane Manila articles from way back in the day. I mean,
they're not
way back in the day. So just Shane has been grinding for a long time. So yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. I think this has been our most attended live stream, quite honestly. We were over 200 for almost the entire time, which was pretty cool. So maybe Tuesday nights is the magic time where people need Dynasty content because we're in between like football weeks and then lineup setting and injury stuff for the end of the week. So good stuff.
Yeah, seems like good night. All right, y'all. Good night. We'll see you soon.
Hey, chill, everybody.
Later.
Good night.